Hi, here we're looking at Figure It Out by Royal Blood, and it's a track with a lot of 16th note syncopation. For example, the bell that you hear halfway through the first verse, that's on the 4th 16th note of the beat, and that anticipated quality is something that appears through the verses and the choruses. So just to clarify, that note would be the 4th 16th note of beat 4, so 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and. So the drums enter after 8 bars with a tight 8th note feel, but again we've got some of those last 16th note of the bar anticipations, which you may find easy to do with your left hand coming across to pick those out, for example. As we head to the breakdown that is before the first chorus, there's a 30-second note movement between the bass drum and the floor tom. The fill that leads us into the first chorus has got a flam on beat 3 leading into the 16th notes. And then the chorus pattern is a 2-bar pattern. There are a couple of variations. Sometimes beat 3 of the second bar is hit on the snare, sometimes it's not. So I'll just move between those two. So you can see the essence of that are those crashes that appear on the end of 3 and the second 16th note of beat 4 of bar 2. One of the more challenging aspects of this track is the syncopated figure that appears at the end of each chorus, which moves over the bar line. So in other words, that figure that we're crashing from the end of 3 into the second 16th note of beat 4 is carried on through the next bar. So it's just another bar of 4/4, but continuing that figure. In other words, the bar that follows that is just playing this. So that's the 9th bar of the chorus. So when we tag that onto the 8th bar, we get this. There's a 4-bar vamp after the first chorus, which at a couple of points features that emphasis on the 4th 16th note. Next up, here's the second verse in its entirety. The second chorus is essentially the same as the first, and after that, this time we get just a 2-bar vamp before we head into the sort of breakdown section. And there's a fill in the second bar of that, which features a 6-stroke roll. The next section is 10 bars long before we head into the double time outro. It's based around this groove. And during the last few bars, we start to pick out that last 16th note of the bar, getting ready for the double time feel. So here are the last 4 bars of that section. And now we're into the double time feel of the outro, which is essentially this 2-bar pattern. Let's slow those 4 bars down a bit. So just to clarify, that triplet figure there is what's sometimes referred to as a hand-foot triplet. Lots of permutations of that. In this instance, it's a right-left foot. With the hands moving down the kit from the snare drum. And then after that, we head over to the ride cymbal. So a couple of things to look out for in there. One is the movement of the bell of the ride to the crash. And the other is the 16th notes into the crash on, which is now the end of beat 4, which the 16th notes are relatively quick as well. And so to finish, I'll just play the whole of that double time outro, going from the flams that lead us into it.